afternoon, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Great to see you all on camera. So to start off the meeting, next week is WLG Impact, as you all may already know. So today we are going to hear from Janos Grommatidis of member firm Bahas Grommatidis and Partners. He is our member firm for Greece, and their project began in 2021 and is still continuing for this year. So Janos, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and you can open it up.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to present a quite substantial project, not only for my law firm, but also for the country, and more specifically for the area of ancient Olympia. For all those who perhaps have not heard a lot about ancient Olympia, let me tell you that ancient Olympia is a historic place with a substantial importance for the Greek history and culture, because it is the place from where the Olympic Games began. I have also to say that this is a place which is very well preserved, and it is one of the three actually major places where many antiquities are, and I urge anybody who wants to visit Greece to give a priority to ancient Olympia and also to Delphi. And I don't need really to explain to you what Delphi is or means for history, and especially for the Greek history. So what happened last summer was that because of the disastrous fires that actually had a very bad impact to many places in Greece, and much of our forestry has been burned and destroyed totally. One of these is the area around ancient Olympia. Ancient Olympia has around some smaller communities, and there the farmers in those communities depend on the cultivation of olive trees. And of course, they produce olives and olive oil, which is famous all over the world. But what is important is that the disaster was such that was actually had a very bad impact on the picture of ancient Olympia as an area. I have to admit that I was not aware of the extent of that disaster at the beginning, up to the moment that immediately after the fires, around beginning September 2021, I received a telephone call from the head of the region of Eastern Greece. Greece is divided into regions. This is the eastern part of the country. The head of this region is equivalent to a minister, who actually asked from me to undertake the task to replant the area of ancient Olympia for various reasons. The major reason was that the farmers in the area, almost 1,800 farmers, suffered an economic catastrophe, and they lost their income at least for the next 5 years. And this is really catastrophic for the local economy. That's the one impact. And the other impact is the fact that the area that we all knew around ancient Olympia was not the same as a picture anymore. It was really some kind of tree cemetery. These two are the main reasons for which we accepted the invitation in the law firm. And from that moment onwards, we started in the firm with a team of my partners, associates, and also administrative staff. We made a plan as to how to design the project. And of course, the first thing was to have a kind of full picture of the catastrophe in detail. before we start before we undertake any kind of initiative. It took us approximately 2 or 3 minutes to get at Patras, where the head offices of the region are, very close to ancient Olympia. Where there in these meetings, we had people participating from the part of the region and also from the part of the communities of ancient Olympia. And then we had a clear picture of the catastrophe, which actually, in real numbers, we may say that it involved the catastrophe of 450,000 olive trees, a huge number of trees, in an area which is very wide one, and some parts of this area are also on hills around ancient Olympia. After the initial meetings, according to our plan, we started a campaign and we applied to major donors, primarily in the United States of America, but also to Greece. We started with the United States of America. There, I asked for the help of the Delet family, a couple who are actually friends of Greece, and they have been involved in the past and up to now to various other initiatives in my country, especially in the area of ancient Mykene and Nemea, where there they made paths for tourists and also for students to go around and visit the antiquities in all these areas, which are historic areas for Greece. So I applied to them, and with much enthusiasm, I have to say that they mobilized immediately a fund which they have formed. It is a cultural fund and educational fund. They call it Arete Fund. Arete means areti, means virtue in English. Areti is in Greece, in the Greek language. Immediately they mobilized their own staff. They made a website, and they started presenting the picture of the catastrophe. And they also made a platform, a fundraising platform, where people from the United States of America started immediately to place some funds, to transfer small funds. Don't imagine that they were subscribing with huge amounts, because let us not forget that at the same time, in summer 2021, we had the catastrophic fires in California. And that was a very difficult period, actually, to ask from Americans to help to restore damages in another country, where they had to restore damages in their own country, in California, and not only. But still, the response from the part of Philhellenes was impressive. I will give you 2 small examples, which are actually moving, and I'm always keen in mentioning these 2 examples. The first example is that a young pupil in a Greek school in New York, on her birthday, she asked from her friends and family not to make any gift to her personally, but the amount that they were supposed to give for a present to her, to devote it to the fund, to the Arete Fund, in order to assist the restoration of the area of ancient Olympia. So that was one of the good examples. And the second example is that the students of a Greek school, community school in America, again in New York, instead of giving money for their own organizational purposes in their own school, they devoted a small amount, $1,500 for the project of ancient Olympia. So this moved us all, and they gave us courage to continue. Then I mobilized, together with my team in Bachas Grammatidis and partners, we mobilized Greek donors, for instance, the Public Power Corporation and banks. I have to say that we had a problem there, because, again, there were so many places and forests destroyed all over the country where they had the donors actually had exhausted their limits by giving money practically for the restoration of all these forests. So the exercise was very difficult for us, but still they responded. And finally, we ended up in collecting an amount of approximately a little less than 1 million euro, approximately 900,000 euro. Even me personally, one of the cars of the old-timers of my collection, I devoted to an electronic international auction, and the result, the price which we obtained, we gave it also to this project. This, I have to say, that was received, not only well received, but with emotion. It was received by all the farmers of the area. And let me tell you that they responded immediately. Of course, we did not respond to the requests placed by each of them, but we had already catalogs with the damaged areas and the damaged farms, which we took from the government. Because when the fires took place, immediately the farmers applied to the government, first of all, in order to announce the length of the damage, but also in order to ask for some assistance from the part of the government. So on the basis of these catalogs, we make a prioritization. It was obvious that we could not buy all and restore all 450,000 trees, which is a huge number. We managed to collect the amount that I mentioned to you before, which corresponds to approximately 160,000 olive trees. We devoted a team of agronomists with our own financial resources to go all over the country and identify farms selling new olive trees. And we picked up, we selected through our specialists, the best of the kind in order to send them to Ancient Olympia. And it is extremely emotional that trucks from all over the country loaded fully with new olive trees, new orchards, they were going and they were meeting at Ancient Olympia in order to deliver the trees to the farmers. Another part of this exercise had to do with the delivery of those trees, because at the end of the day, we didn't want only to deliver the trees, but we wanted to make sure that the delivered trees would be planted also, which is another part of the exercise, which we still monitor today. So we picked up out of the 24 smaller communities around Ancient Olympia, we picked 4 big villages, big communities, where farmers were invited to come in specific dates so that we don't have a confusion. And they were picking from various other communities around those 4 big communities, and they were collecting their trees, signing also some forms that they delivered X or Y or Z number of trees. We finished with this exercise almost 15 days ago. And all trees have been exhausted. We don't have any other trees, but there is a future here. And the future is that we are going to monitor the planting, which has already started, and it will. The period for the planting will last up to the end of June of this year. And we have already agronomists and other part of our personnel, with the assistance of the local authorities, going all over in these communities and testifying the planting of the olive trees. I received, well, but what does it mean actually? What does it mean for our law firm? This is a unique, I would say, a unique project, a unique initiative in the following sense. When we have a project undertaken by the Greek government, and actually it doesn't apply only for Greece, but it applies for many other countries also, there is much delay in implementing such projects, delay that may take years actually because of the bureaucratic procedures. By undertaking ourselves this as a private initiative, you realize that we made a shortcut. And we managed to finalize this project. If you calculate that we started back in beginning of September, in a few months up to now, which really is quite extraordinary and heroic, I have to say. And it was actually a test that we wanted to prove that the private sector, the private initiative runs much quicker than the state and the authorities involved. The impact for our firm is, of course, huge. I will give you an example. Only the day before yesterday, the governor of the central bank, a very close friend of mine, was working with his wife around my house because he lives in the same area. And he stopped, he saw me and he stopped and said, Yano, everybody is talking about this project in the Greek system, in the Greek government system. Why? Because we also had organized the promotion of this initiative, of this project, through the television and also through the press, with interviews which we gave all over the country, and especially in the affected area of ancient Olympia, but also in Athens. We had a very big press conference, actually, where the competent minister of the agriculture was present, together with the head of the region and together also of the head donors. So we gave at the Zapion Palace in the center of Athens, we gave a very big interview which had a big publicity, unbelievably big publicity. And it is exactly the same palace where we had the closing dinner of the World Law Group meeting in Athens back in 2004, an impressive palace which we picked up for this particular press conference. Now, the next steps now, the immediately next step, which will happen sometime in the middle of June. I believe that I have reasons to believe that it's going to be around the 20th to 22nd of June. We have managed to have an official ceremony at the ancient Olympia with the assistance of the local mayor, who was very helpful actually in this particular project. And there, during this ceremony, the government will be present. Most probably it will be the prime minister, but even without the prime minister, we shall have definitely the major members of the cabinet, together with local authorities, together with the farmers, and we managed to prepare with a sculpture that we employed for this reason, a very big plaque in order to remember always the project and who actually were the contributors there of the project. And very close, 1 meter away from the plaque, we are going, which actually mentions that it is an initiative of the law firm Bachazos Grammatidis and partners, together with the Arete Fund and with the assistance of the local authorities. We will plant an old olive tree, which is like a sculpture, actually, an impressive 250 years old olive tree, so that it also reminds the importance of the olive trees for the area. You can see on your screens now a part of the disaster. It is like a cemetery of trees, of olive trees. It is a very sad, I would say, picture of the huge disaster that the area suffered. These photographs are photographs that that the photographer of our firm made on the spot in one of the meetings that we had there. And you can still see here Mrs. Delet, who came to Greece together with her husband in order to visit the places and also witness with her own eyes the size of the disaster. These are characteristic photos. This is it is a very sad feeling that I got when I visited all these areas, and I thought that it is an obligation of our firm to enlist, to include in our corporate social responsibility plan, to include this kind of project, as I said, not only because we are assisting the local economy, but also because we protect, or at least we make sure that we take care of the environmental needs in the area. You can see a house here that has been burned, and this belonged to a lady farmer. Canela is her name, and the name of Canela became very well known in the United States of America because the Delet couple is always mentioning Canela when in the frame of their activities for the project in the United States of America. The final thing that I would like to say is that during this ceremony, in the next few days, we will honor, of course, our donors by giving them perks which have been designed and made for them to remember not only their contribution, but also the importance of their contribution. They will get their perks. There will be some kind of a speech from the part of the members of the cabinet and of myself, who will be I will be there together with the rest of the members of the Bachas Grammatidis and Partners law firm, but also with my family, because really I have to say that as a family, my family suffered a lot, because you realize that on top of my activities in the firm, I had to travel all the time to ancient Olympia, 3 hours away from Athens. God knows how many times I did this trip, sometimes staying there overnight and coming back the next day. So all my family actually was supporting this, and I'm truly obliged to them. I believe that we had also a small film that we made showing the delivery of the trees with the trucks. Here you see these are still in the initial farms. After that, they were loaded, all these olive trees in parcels. They were loaded on trucks, and in order to be transported to ancient Olympia. Here is one of the orchards producers in the area of Laconia. Laconia is the area around ancient Sparta, a place from where we bought a lot of orchards. You can see that the size of the orchard is approximately 1.5 meters or less, but not much less. And here I would like to tell you the importance of this donation to the local farmers who were damaged. For them to get some money out of the cultivation of their olive trees, it will take them 5 years, because they are new orchards. And as a result, it will take them approximately 5 or 5.5 years to give the first olives for them to trade. So you realize that in the meantime, the people will suffer. it is really extremely nice from the part of the Greek government that they decided to give an amount of 70 euro per olive tree, damaged olive tree, to those producers for them to recover a part of the lost revenue because of the disaster. Here again, we are at the farms from where we bought the olive trees. I wonder whether we could see now some pictures. Here I am together with my staff on the spot. You see that it is attention to Olympia. You see a small table nearby whereby every farmer was coming in order to find him in the catalog, and also delivered to him. He will sign a receipt that he delivered, that he took delivery of the number of trees destined for him. And after that, we were delivering the trees to them. Here you can see the vice governors of the area and some people of the staff that we employed in Bachas Grammatidis and Partners. I am in a rather touristic mood over there, which is also interesting. Here is one of the trucks ready to unload the orchards, the new orchards. We had, as you see, all the equipment necessary in order to do this. And here again, they are on the spot, ready to be delivered. And they invited me, an interesting and a very emotional moment. They invited me, some people in a cafe, in a local cafe, where in the middle of the community of ancient Olympia. And it was very emotional to see small trucks of the farmers to pass by. They had already been delivered their olive trees, and they were passing in front of us in order to go to their farms and start planting. And my feeling was that I did something for them, to assist them, their families, their economy, and of course to put our environmental fingerprint on the spot. So I think that with this I finalized my presentation, for which I made no preparation whatsoever, I have to tell you, because I was so much involved with all the details of the project that actually all these pictures and moments are already in my mind, and they will live forever. Now, in relation to our own CSR contribution, I have to tell you that the impact was enormous, in the sense that we didn't make our contribution and our importance known to the wider public, but primarily to the Greek business community, to the donors, big companies as Coca-Cola, the Public Power Corporation, banks, Procter & Gamble, and others, companies for which we never worked, I have to say, in the past. But still, by doing so, they were so much moved that slowly they have shown the first indications that they would like to see, also to learn something more about our law firm, despite the public image of our firm in Greece. So I think that with this I conclude my presentation, and if there is any question, I would be delighted to entertain it.
I think the first thing we all have to do is give a big round of applause to Janos. That's an amazing project that you've done and that your firm has done. Really, really proud. Definitely, you can be so proud of that.
You're absolutely right. We are very proud, and I have to say that I am even more proud than anybody other in the firm, because I was so closely involved. I have to say that the amount that we contributed to this donation from the part of the firm is really much more than our contribution because of the resources that we used. For us, let me tell you that the whole initiative, on top of our donations, exceeds the amount of 120,000 euro, which is not, I would say, usual for the Greek standards, donation standards. But still, we thought that it is our duty to the area of ancient Olympia.
Janos, thank you so much. I think one of the purposes when we formed the CSR Forum in the World Law Group wasn't just because we think if we do this, firms are going to start doing CSR. It was because we had confidence that so many of our terrific member firms already are doing amazing projects in CSR, and we can come together, learn from each other, share experiences, be inspired by each other. And then we can also try to do some World Law Group activities where as a firm, as a global network, we're all doing something in the same time, et cetera. So this is just such a great example that, you know, we didn't start CSR in most of the firms, though some firms have been inspired and have gotten more serious in their policies. But we can be so proud of our membership in a network that has this kind of quality firms, not only on the professional level, which we've always known, but on the ethical, environmental, and corporate social responsibility level. So, Janos, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Tori, would you like to continue?
Yep, absolutely. Yes. Thank you, Janos, so much. I think this is just a great example of WLG impact and how you are making those local steps to a massive global impact. So what I'd like to do next in the spirit of WLG impact, I just want to pose a question to the group. So for those of you who participated last year, maybe you're continuing your participation this year, we're curious, how has WLG impact affected your firm's internal culture? Has the program brought any significant internal changes? Feel free to jump in and share.
This is always the cameras on, guys, and don't be shy. All right.
Okay, I will share. First of all, I was totally impressed by Janos' presentation. I think it was a great initiative, and coming from a country like in Latin America and Argentina, sometimes private initiatives are so much more successful than if we have to wait the state to be in charge of covering these tragedies, these kind of tragedies. And well, we had a very similar initiative, but on the social side when the COVID pandemic came. So I totally communicate with what Janos was showing. So thank you very much. It was very, very inspiring, really. Thank you very much for your presentation. It was great. I thought it was a great initiative. Well, on our side, I think last year we had the Brochure Sustainability Week. And like for us, the impact that we had like separate small CSR initiatives, like I'm the pro bono coordinator in the firm, but then there was like a sustainability committee doing like individual initiatives, and everything was kind of separate initiatives and nothing like a global movement within the firm, no, like more cohesive. And as from that initiative, as from last year, we began a small path forward, like with many collective initiatives, like getting the whole firm together in a kind of awareness and actions, but all together, not like separate committees doing different and separate things. So I think that was like the starting of a process that today is being like visualized in the drafting of our first sustainability report, and in a very preliminary assessment we are undergoing in order to see if we can certify as a B corporation. And after that we started organizing different kind of webinars and initiatives, not only because we wanted to have like this internal commitment, but all of us, not only, as I was saying before, not only from a committee or a commission of small people trying to get everybody together and trying to make a contagious movement, but also because we wanted everybody to be on board and everybody to know what we are doing. Because if not, a small group was undergoing with the sustainability report, and not all the 300, no, we are 220 members of the firm knew about this. So we are starting like these small steps, but getting everybody on board to know what we're doing. So it was great for us. It was a great start and a very nice initiative to pull forward. So thank you very much, World Group. For us, it was great.
That's like the reason why we do all this. That's just so fantastic to hear. Could anybody else jump in and share whether it had any impact or whether they felt that their firms were so developed that the forum and the World Law Group impact just fits really nicely into their firm, but not necessarily added to it? It's just a great compliment to it. That's fine too. Love to hear from someone.
Hi, good morning. I would also like to share, well, first of all, congratulations on the incredible initiative. It's really an amazing accomplishment and you should be very, very proud of it. For our firm, I think it has been very important because people seem a bit more focused on our environmental projects and CSR projects. They feel like more engaged. The initiatives are also regionalizing, which was a really key point for us because sometimes Costa Rica is already a very green country, so people here, I think it's a bit easier than in the rest of Central America for them to sometimes understand the importance of going, for example, like neutral carbon emissions and stuff like that. But by starting with these initiatives, WLG Impact, we have been able to regionalize the initiatives. So we're very, very happy about that.
Thanks, Daniela. Anyone else? Should we continue down this path, Tori, or should we talk about kind of the future that World Law Group, the direction we're taking, or I guess we should definitely remind everyone to get their projects in if they haven't already.
Yes, definitely. If you have not submitted your WLG Impact project, it does kick off next week on June 1st, but it runs the duration of June. So there is a full 30 days to put together an initiative, host a webinar, clean a park, plant a tree, any of the above. And moving on to the next bit, the future of the CSR group. Starting next month, we are planning to rename the CSR Forum to the Responsible Business Forum. We're thinking this is going to be a better reflection of the group's initiatives as a whole, not only from a CSR perspective, but diversity and sustainability.
Does anyone have any thoughts about what other topics firms might be included? Tori and I, Janet as well. We've seen a lot of your presentations have included topics, as Tori mentioned, diversity, equity, inclusion, sustainability, pro bono, all these things keep coming up. And just curious, as we're planning future meetings, to be more inclusive of all of those different types of internal initiatives, if there are any that firms are really interested in talking about or hearing about.
There's another topic
Janos?
I wonder if we're gonna broach, which is politically sensitive when we talk about responsible business. Will we look at all about ethics of our clients? Is that something that we want to touch?
May I add something on that, Janet? I think that's really something really interesting, because something we've been discussing with our clients and internally is how to look at our clients' ethics, but not necessarily disengage with them when we identify something significant or sensitive. Quite the opposite. When we are hired in order to help them become more in line with responsible business conduct or business and human rights, I'm the partner in charge of the business and human rights practice at our firm, a Brazilian firm called Tosini. Then we are capable of working with them. But when we are hired in order to I don't know, to hide something, or the client is intending not to address something significant, then we will not work with this client. So I think this is something very interesting to further discuss in the WLG group of CSR.
Janos, you wanted to say something?
I am a little bit skeptical as to what the term responsible business mean. It is much, I would say, much wider than social corporate responsibility, in the sense that it includes also some other issues which are not necessarily socially important, as for instance, the code of conduct, how you conduct your business. As you know, the listed companies, they are obliged to follow a specific code of conduct, but this doesn't apply to the non-listed companies. So this may be very well a topic if we adopt the responsible business approach. Now, with the previous term of the corporate social responsibility, we were talking, of course, about inclusion, but I think that one of the issues of the inclusion should be the women leadership. This is something on which I am personally extremely sensitive. As you all know, I have a very big admiration for women. It is well known, so I simply confess it. But it's not only because of this, it's because it is very important in reality, in the sense that there is so much inequality there that really bothers me a lot. I can see that in the boards, in the board of directors, where women are just few, and we have glorious examples of business entrepreneurship. So with this in mind, I wanted to say that if we go back to the social corporate responsibility approach, women leadership should be a topic, specific topic, and in relation to the other approach, the responsible business, the code of conduct.
And I think, to be clear, Janos, we would not be abandoning the CSR. We would be just broadening the scope. So CSR would still absolutely be a part of the focus. It's more kind of internal firm initiatives that, you know, run the gamut. And as I said, I'm thinking back to the Altamimi presentation or some others where, you know, when we asked them to give a presentation on CSR, it really included all of these topics. A lot of the firms, I think, the staff professionals in charge of, you know, various initiatives it's under the same umbrella, how it's managed internally. And then also World Law Group is going to be launching an ESG practice group actually next month as part of Impact. But that would, the focus of that would be selling ESG as a service, right? So, or, you know, helping clients with ESG related matters and work, not so much about what our firm's doing internally related to ESG. So that would sort of still fall into our bucket.
I
if
do
that
love the
makes
idea
sense.
of talking about code of conduct. We know we have a lot of clients that have codes of conduct. How many of our firms think of it? We all have, let's say, codes of ethics under our local bar association, which gives us a good start. But it would be interesting to see whether law firms also should be having an additional code of conduct beyond their legal obligations under their ethics rule. And I think that's where you get the tether between the ESG, internal ESG versus ESG as a practice group. ESG as a practice group, how do we advise our clients for compliance in these different areas or reporting in these certain areas? But on an internal basis, are we conducting our own businesses in any sort of responsible manner, whether it's environmental or government or social, and that pulls into the internal ESG besides the corporate social responsibility, which is part of that thrown in. So I think you're right. I think it's expanding into a really interesting area, and I think maybe it'll help our firms push ahead of the curve on these things that everyone's going to be thinking about more and more.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would also say, since we are expanding a bit into maybe the area of the code of conduct or women in business, which I think is a great endeavor, this could spread a little bit further within your firms. If you know other people in your firm who would be interested in these sorts of topics, I would encourage you to encourage them to join the Responsible Business Forum.
Mm-hmm. Or let us know if you have someone that would be a potential speaker for this group. If your firm has a program in any of these areas, who's the right person that could be talking about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think information should come out next month about the ESG as a practice group, as I said. So if you also know people in your firm who should be a member of that, there should be some communications going out soon.
I'm going to make a generally politically incorrect observation. Maybe those of us that are interested in corporate social responsibility just tend to be more considerate people toward the environment and toward each other. And maybe that's why people on this forum tend to be a little more shy and not speaking up as much as in many other forums where the opposite always happens. So I'm going to encourage all of you, even though you're considerate, wonderful people, to just share your opinions, share your thoughts about any of the topics that we bring up, because we really do like hearing from everyone. And I would try not to just call on people and embarrass you if you all cooperate with me.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It would be great moving forward as well that we have more discussions around some of these bigger things like code of conduct. I feel like we might have a lot more people that could chime in on that within their firm.
Do you have anything else, Janos? If you were starting to speak.
Sorry.
No. Well, I think maybe just sorry to circle back to the impact. I just wanted to point out that Tori and Alyssa, our new teammate who's working with social media, they've already been promoting all of the firms who have submitted projects already on social media. So I know they've been doing that all of this month, and then they'll continue to promote next month all throughout Impact. So that's just kind of another plug as well, that we are doing our best to promote the individual firms participating. So the sooner you get us information, the more promotion we can do of your firm and your project. And then I guess the Responsible Business Forum will make the updates on the website. So everyone who's already a member of this group would be a member. We'll just basically change the name, and you'll see that in future emails. But we may also do promotion through Fortnite Focus or social media or some other outlets, just to see if more people want to join the group to participate in those conversations.
And Tori, while I have this opportunity, I might as well ask you, we did we sent out emails just sort of reminding people who we hadn't heard from yet. And I know we did get a bunch of replies Tori, can we do like an update and see who still hasn't replied? And then maybe I can do another round to any of those firms. I feel like we got a lot of replies in, but I haven't been keeping a tally. I was wondering if you were.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I figured we could do another round tomorrow. Just reminders to those we
Good.
haven't heard from yet. Yeah.
Mhm.
And if you are participating in Impact, you probably received an email from me about promoting on social media with images and logos and hashtag for this year.
Perfect.
I think the other thing we should put together for this group, if you wouldn't mind, is a list. I know you've been promoting great, like 2 or 3 firms at a time, so that people really look and concentrate on it. I think for the forum, it would be great to be having a running tally of all of them, just the whole, everyone going on, so that people can get an idea of the breadth of the projects and just, you know, the potential impact when we have so many firms doing so many different things. I think that for this forum, we would feel good to be a bit overwhelmed by all the wonderful things that people are doing
Yep, absolutely.
and sharing that with the forum.
And it is on the website. If you go to the Impact event record, you will see all of the projects that everybody has submitted up until now.
Okay, but because so many of us get lost in the
There are-
website, if you could also send it to everyone on the forum.
It was in Tori's email yesterday. I was just looking at it. So if you have that email that she sent out yesterday with today's agenda, there's a link. See what your colleagues are doing, and that I think is the running tally of all of the firms that we've heard from so far.
I thought once I clicked one of those
hopefully we
links
will
and it gave me about.
that list.
I thought once I clicked on one of those links and I got about 3 firms. I didn't get the whole list of everybody. So, okay, we can check that just so that everyone can keep tabs.
Yeah, we're definitely hoping to get quite a few more firms involved. And I know ongoing COVID challenges and work from home, but we're trying to just encourage people to get creative. You don't have to be as ambitious as Janos if you're not able to, that there are definitely smaller things that can be done and can be done from home to still do something to participate.
The next time we have a meeting, and again, warning all you considerate quiet people, it will be great also for some of you or all of you to just say, like, how'd it go? What did you guys do? Did anything work particularly well? What did you have some challenges that made it not possible to do this? Whatever it is. Clara, thanks to you. It was good seeing you. Because that'll be after, you know, after we've gotten through the impact months. And it will be fun to hear that.
Sounds
okay.
Good. Well,
all right.
you.
I think we're heading toward the end of the hour. So thank you so much, everybody who took the time out and joined us. Thanks especially to Janos for sharing, inspiring all of us today, and those amazing pictures.